So I found a video criticizing Steven Universe that's 1,000,000 times worse than the Everything Wrong With I covered. So strap in, because this is gonna be a wild fucking ride.
It's no secret that the Steven Universe fanbase is considered to be officially the worst fandom to ever exist.
Now why would you single out the Steven Universe fanbase? I can give examples of multiple fanbases worse. Undertale, My Hero Academia, FNAF, JoJo, that's right, I said it. Hitler, and while most of those fanbases have cooled down, so has Steven Universe's. The worst of the fanbase sightings were in Season 2, 3, and 4, and have mostly become better since then. Of course you'll always have terrible people in fanbases, but that's not a valid criticism of the show itself.
By the way, in case you're wondering who the best fanbase is, it's JoJo.
Okay, I wrote that joke about JoJo before he said that. This guy is a moron.
One of them, over the fact she drew one of the show's many morbidly obese characters, is actually attractive.
Did this guy just say that fat people are unattractive? Congratulations! You are now the living embodiment of confirmation bias. This is your award. Anyone can take a bunch of negative events and leave out the positive bits. Also, the hatedom is just as bad as the fandom.
Steven Universe is a show about some fat kid with magical powers whose mom was an alien who died giving birth to him, so now he's being raised by his mom's free lesbian ex-girlfriends who take him on missions with them to fight other aliens who are bad for some reason that is never fully explained.
Bad for some reason. Oh, you know, like genocide, conquering other planets, and destroying natural life on them. I don't think he actually watched the show, and if he did, he didn't pay attention and then complained that he was confused. He seemed like that kind of guy. You know, an asshole.
There's no need for me to explain to you the plot of Steven Universe for 3 reasons. First of all, there isn't one.
What did I just say?
With some characters being particularly unpleasant to listen to, like the main fucking character. Let me tell you something. I am so happy that the character I get to listen to the most in this show is the one that sounds most like a flock of seagulls being violently raped.
Steven is really only annoying throughout Season 1A, when Zack was still trying to find what Steven should sound like. Did this guy watch past Episode 2?
Almost every other cast member on this list is a woman, usually a woman who isn't white. Now, I'm not saying...
Did he really just use a KFC logo to represent non-white people? What the fuck? He's trying to complain that the Steven Universe fans are terrible people. Also, yes, Italians are white, you dumb fuck.
It's just that when you look at something like this, it's hard not to come to the conclusion that the people on this list were hired based on sex and race rather than skill and talent, which would explain why they have so little of it.
Wow, it's almost like 90% of the people on the show are fucking women. Also mostly aliens who don't even have a race. When a cast is majority non-white, it's because of their skin color and not skill at all. When a cast is majority white people, it's because of skill and has nothing to do with the skin color. What a fucking racist.
Even more interestingly than that is the fact that the first 2 men on this list...
Wow, this guy's also a fucking transphobe. Who could have guessed? Definitely not me, nope.
After the voices of Steven and his dad, are just guys who work at the show's office, doing multiple voices, despite both of them not being voice actors.
Ian plays fucking Mr. Queasy, Steven's teddy bear. They didn't want to hire a voice actor for that role, so Ian just fucking did it himself. I'm guessing, I'm not 100% sure on that.
Aside from maybe 3 or 4 songs that have any actual production value behind them, the rest are just single tunes, played by Rebecca Sugar herself using her little banjo, despite the fact she can't really play, and despite the fact that, even though the show consistently insists on having characters break into song at any provocation, most of the actors on the show can't sing at all. And yes, that does include Estelle.
There are so many things wrong with that. First of all, most songs aren't just Rebecca playing her banjo. I can name about 3 songs that are just Rebecca singing. Love Like You Reprise, and Escapism, which hadn't even come out yet when he made this video. Second, it's not a banjo, you fucking moron, it's a ukulele. At the time he made this video, there were 48 songs in the show. How many episodes, you ask? 132. If they did burst into song at any possible moment, there'd be like 200 songs.
In Steven Universe, the first ever fusion is performed unceremoniously off-screen. There is no enemy for them to fight, and the only reason they fuse together is to save Steven, who has hurled himself off a cliff for the millionth fucking time.
They do it off-screen because of tension and surprise. Obviously they were going to fuse in that episode, but they wanted to surprise you in how Opal looks.
Why does every gem fusion in the show that is made of 2 kinds of gems have 4 arms, but Garin only has 2?
Well, that one was explained. The more stable the fusion, the more humanoid they look.
And if Greg impregnated Rose, does that mean she have a vagina? Why? Why would she have a vagina?
Rose probably shapeshifted to have a reproductive system so that she can make a baby. She'd have to shapeshift for 9 whole months to do that, but, spoiler alert, she's a diamond, she can handle it. Also, it's never explicitly said that Rose birthed Steven like a human would.
Why does everyone of the same type of gem look almost exactly the same if they have shapeshifting powers and can look like whatever they want?
Well, they can look like whatever they want. The diamonds probably make it so gems look the same when they come out, with the diamond insignia and all.
If gem fusion requires a dance to fuse, why are some gems able to fuse by just touching each other by accident or doing it without dancing at all?
The dancing isn't the main part. The thing with the dance is to synchronize with each other so they can fuse.
If Steven can fuse with Connie, why couldn't Greg fuse with Rose?
Did he really just ask why Steven, who's half gem, half human, can fuse with a human? There's the answer. Remember that thing I said about not paying attention and complaining when he's confused? He tries to debunk this in the follow-up video, but since there's no other half-gem humans that we know, we don't know how it works. Granted, that's kind of a poor excuse, but an excuse that works nonetheless.
If Garnet can see the future, why does she use this to stop horrible things from happening to them?
Garnet probably does use her future vision a lot, but knows that things will turn out the way they do at the end of Change Your Mind if he doesn't use her future vision to stop all bad things from happening.
Why does Steven live with his mom's 3 lesbian ex-girlfriends instead of his biological father?
Greg lives in the back of a fucking van. He lived with him until he was too big to live with Greg. Plus, Steven wanted to live with the gems because they're cool and fight bad guys, in Steven's eyes.
If his father owns a car wash, why does he live in a van?
Owning a car wash doesn't mean free access to a house. You want him to live in a car wash? The car wash where the only place you can sleep is in the front office, which has a giant window looking into it?
How can the gems afford this giant beachside mansion?
I mean, the gems save the planet, so they probably live rent-free, but they deal with Mr. Dewey thousands of years ago.
Three neglectful, irresponsible, illegal alien feminists.
Calling the gems feminist because they're lesbians makes no sense. You think they care about Earth politics? No, they care about gem politics.
While the kids are supposed to be taken care of, they take into dangerous missions.
Steven is 13, almost 14 during the series. He does not need to be taken care of like a 7-year-old. Also, Steven insists on going on missions. The gems didn't want him to go until he was better with his powers.
Don't let him go to school and allow him to become morbidly obese, emotionally unstable.
Steven is neither morbidly obese nor emotionally unstable. Yes, he's a little fat, but that doesn't mean he's morbidly obese.
A cross-dresser.
How is he a cross-dresser exactly? There's only one episode where he dresses up as a girl.
On a larger scale, there's the issue that the plot never progresses anywhere and nothing is properly explained.
Plot progression happens so much that you have to be both blind and deaf to miss it.
How did the gems become corrupt?
I was going to give him the benefit of the doubt on this one, until I realized the episode where they explain how they got corrupted came out more than a year before this video.
How was Rose able to protect her friends from becoming corrupt but not anyone else?
This one I will give him the benefit of the doubt on. I genuinely don't know what episode showed Rose using her shield to save Garnet and Pearl from the corruption.
Why didn't everyone else protect themselves from becoming corrupt if Rose could do it?
None of the other gems, from what we know, have shields, let alone shields as strong as Rose Quartz, aka Pink Diamonds.
Why didn't they just evacuate their own troops before turning everyone corrupt?
They tried to evacuate their troops, but some got left behind. The corrupted gems are mostly crystal gems.
Why even take over the Earth instead of literally any other planet?
They do take over other planets, referencing It Could Have Been Great, which came out a year and a few months before this video.
Why did Homeworld put the cluster in the Earth's core?
To destroy the planet that got Pink killed.
Why did it lay dormant for thousands of years and only activate just now because it's plot convenient?
The show clearly has an explanation, but you throw it out because it doesn't make sense when, within the show, it does.
There are just so many questions that are never answered, and even when they are answered, there is so little focus put on them, you'll miss it if you blink, or you'll just won't understand because it's explained so fucking poorly, and just end up with even more questions.
That only happens if you don't pay attention, which clearly you don't.
Apparently, this show does not have actual scriptwriters, as explained in that video I talked about earlier. See, it turns out that the people who work on the show believe that this is an art-driven show somehow, and that the only way to write a script is to write it based on the shit that they already drew.
Actually, quite a few shows are storyboard-driven, including the first 9 seasons of SpongeBob, Phineas and Ferb, Star vs. the Forces of Evil, Adventure Time, Regular Show, the last few seasons of the OG Powerpuff Girls, and We Bare Bears, just to name a few.
All you need to do is have Steven, the main character, ask some questions. After all, Steven is the audience viewpoint character, and yet he never questions anything.
Steven's dream is about Steven sick of not getting answers, and goes to Korea with his dad to investigate for himself.
After all, he's 14 years old at this point. He's been going on gem hunting missions for years apparently. At least since the first episode, and probably before that.
Steven did not go on gem mission before the first episode. We see his first mission. It's in Cheeseburger Backpack.
What we don't do in developed countries is allow a group of 20-year-old idiots who can't even write a basic story arc or keep their own metaphors consistent to make a propaganda film for toddlers.
Having gay characters equals propaganda. Having straight characters only equals entertainment. Children should be exposed to LGBTQ plus relationships the same amount. In fact, they shouldn't be treated any differently than straight relationships, like in Steven Universe.
One little Joseph Goebbels managed to slip by and create a cartoon where 90% of the population is gay.
Does this guy realize Rebecca's Jewish?
Fusion is a metaphor for sex, as the show's own creator admitted.
The not strictly romantic doesn't mean sexual, it means platonic. Rebecca never said fusion equals sex. In fact, I'm pretty sure the Crooniverse said the complete opposite.
Is fusion gay sex because they're all women, or is it technically not gay sex because they're all genderless? And if it's not gay sex, and Homeworld is persecuting gems who are of different kinds and fuse, is it actually interracial sex? Is this character who's persecuted by Homeworld for fusing with 6 other gems an attempt at promoting polygamy? Is forced fusion rape? And if it is, did Pearl repeatedly rape Garnet in one of the show's arcs? And did Jasper rape Lapis? And then did Lapis drag Jasper to the bottom of the ocean and then spend 6 months raping him back as revenge? Is the cluster a giant rape orgy? And if corrupt gems can't think properly, does that mean that they're retarded dogs? Did Jasper rape a retarded dog?
Or maybe it's not sex. It can be the love between friends, family members, and yes, lovers, but that's still only romantic, not sexual.
They don't have to hire any men to voice them, and when they do have to hire men and have no choice, they just hire co-workers, friends, relatives, and people with the same ideology.
What about Tom Sharpling? Zach Callison?
Even though the show will insist and never admit that this is actually a man, it usually is.
That list is, not true. Being taller and being muscular aren't male-only things. They do this to make them more intimidating because they're strong. Even pointing out it's for intimidation. Jasper does not wear clothes that are any more masculine than Garnet. Jasper has long-ass hair. She does have a gruff voice, but it's still obviously female. Jasper's body isn't any more masculine than Paradox's. Sure, Jasper has a square jaw, but come on. Also, do I need to point out the diamond?
Like the way that the main cast Pearl and the Blue Pearl sound like chicks, but the evil Yellow Pearl who serves the show's villain sounds like a guy, despite all 3 being voiced by the same woman.
Blue Diamond is also the villain. And Yellow Pearl does not sound like a guy, she just sounds stuck up.
Oh, and this evil racist guard character has the body of a man but the hair and voice of a woman.
Holly Blue Agate does not have the body of a man. Not all women have an hourglass figure, but to you, any woman that doesn't is either ugly or they have the body of a man.
Because you see, the main cast's amethyst is obviously female, and when the cast meets other amethysts for the first time, they all look like big muscular men.
They all look like Jasper but with Amethyst's head. So no, I wouldn't say they look that male, just strong.
Bismuth is what SJWs like to call gay-coded or queer-coded.
Well, actually, I'd say she's bi.
So when I say, for example, that a group of characters are queer-coded, I mean they look like a bunch of queers.
Oof.
So the show's gayest character, one that is so gay, she literally has rainbows for hair and other rainbows grafted onto her body, is a murderous, violent psychopath.
Okay, but there are multiple other gay-coded characters that aren't like that. If Bismuth was the only gay character, I can see how that's a problem, but it's not.
You might think that they're angry at her for looking and sounding like Harambe, but you'd be wrong, because even the Steven Universe fanbase realizes that this is an accurate depiction of a lesbian.
Oof.
Just to really drive the man-hating point home, in one episode, a female character traps a male character on a deserted island with her, against his will and without his knowledge, in an attempt to seduce him. And by the end of the episode, do you know who the bad guy is? Is it the potential rapist who kept someone prisoner in an attempt to get sex out of them? Is it the dangerous sexual predator, the psychopath who keeps people on a deserted island starving and freezing in the rain because they're trying to get them to fall in love with them? No, it's not her. It was him, because he's a man.
Did you not hear what Sadie said at the end? She knew he needed a vacation, but wouldn't do this willingly. Sadie is still in the wrong, but her intentions were not to seduce Lars.
Now there's no colony, and there's gonna be no Earth, so thank you, Rose Quartz. You doomed the planet.
You, listen to me now. You are talking about things that you do not understand.
Just look at the way that the Gems treat Peridot for judging things by his own culture's standards of good and bad. They yell at him, assault him, and threaten him with violence.
So they got mad at Peridot because she thinks that Rose doomed the planet by saving it from being doomed by Homeworld. Either way, the planet dies, but this way the planet lives longer. Plus, Rose had no idea about the cluster in the first place.
But what makes Homeworld so bad exactly? In Rebecca Sugar's mind, Homeworld are a bunch of space Nazis. But why? What makes them so bad? Is it because they don't allow different types of gems to fuse with each other because they all turn into hideous abominations? Is it because they have a structured, prosperous, and technologically advanced society where citizens are expected to use their best natural abilities for the betterment of the species and everyone's mutual benefit? Is it because they go to different planets and colonize them to ensure the continuation of their species? Because it doesn't look like Homeworld is doing anything bad at all.
No, it's because they're dictators who rule over with an iron fist. Because they take over other planets to expand their empire, killing all natural life in the process, and anyone who disagrees with them literally gets killed. Are you a Homeworld apologist?
Oh, and one more thing I forgot to mention about fusion. If fusion is technically sex, and Steven is 14, and Connie is 12, and they fuse... Look, I'm not trying to imply that Rebecca Sugar is a pedophile. Wait, no, that's exactly what I'm trying to imply. Rebecca Sugar is a fucking pedophile.
Yes, that would be true if fusion was sex, but... Oh wait, something you may have missed there. It's fucking not.
She used to draw child porn, involving Ed, Ed, and Eddie.
That Ed, Ed, and Eddie stuff looks like a joke. It's still not exactly okay, but I wouldn't go as far as to say she's a pedophile.
And that's a nice segue to talking about the show's staff.
Here he talks about some bad stuff the Queenverse have done. While I don't have enough info to say that these are all false, what I'm going to say is this. Anyone can make shit up for clout. Not only that, but you should be able to separate art from the artist.
On episode 12 of Steven Universe, Steven sings a song about how he wants to see a giant woman. On episode 48, Greg's manager mentions that Greg is really attracted to gigantic women. Then on episode 111, Greg's cousin again mentions that Greg likes huge women. Now episode 12 was written by Jeff Liu. Episode 48 was also written by Jeff Liu. And episode 111 wasn't written by Jeff Liu, but it introduced a character who was crucial to episode 112, which was written by Jeff Liu. And considering all the other giant women in this show, and the fact that, as you know, they say that once is a happenstance, twice is a coincidence, but 3 times is an author fetish, well, yeah, Jeff Liu probably has a macro fetish. I'm just saying. I'm just speculating. I'm gonna get sued.
I don't think the giant stuff is fetish related. Just a gut feeling.
I don't know why, but the more unpleasant a character is, the more screen time it gets. For example, Lars, who's a minor character by any account, has half the series devoted to him dealing with his personal issues.
Lars isn't the greatest person. Lars' arc is becoming a better person as he becomes more and more of a friend to Steven, until eventually his arc ends with him offering to sacrifice himself to save a bunch of aliens he's never met. And this video was the latest to come out when he made this video.
The most annoying character in the show, its titular character, Steven, a fat, stupid, selfish, annoying, whiny mongoloid who has the voice of a flock of geese flying into a jet engine.
Steven is really only annoying during Season 1. He matures a lot by the end of Season 1.
Most of the show's episodes are focused on how Steven's 3 moms tell him not to do something, him doing it anyway without them trying to stop him, his fumbling attempts setting off various traps and causing multiple disasters and almost getting everyone killed, and the episode ending with all of them bending to Steven's will and telling him what a good boy he is, and how he did a great job.
That's Season 1 mostly.
Garnet always complies with Steven's every request, patronizes him like he's 5 years old instead of 14, leading him to continue to act like he's 5 years old.
Ah yes, he clearly doesn't mature. He totally doesn't go from a selfish kid who only cares about seeing the gems fight cool monster guys to a selfless kid who sacrificed himself to save the people of Beach City. Nope, doesn't happen.
Steven does not mature over time.
Watch this clip and tell me he's still selfish.
I get it now! I'm the only one who can stop what she started! I can stop all of it! She wouldn't have wanted this! But I do.
Steven. No! Don't you dare!
I love you.
No! Stop!
He's an illiterate, emotionally stunted, morbidly obese child.
Steven isn't morbidly obese, for fuck's sake.
Steven Universe, the character, is a fat, whiny, incompetent mongoloid who's so stupid he's borderline retarded. Lives in a mansion with his 3 progressive lesbian moms that spoil him, give him anything he wants without having to work for it, and let him do whatever he wants, to the point that he became a selfish, self-absorbed, egotistical cunt with a morbid obesity problem. All of this within a world where he magically develops new superpowers whenever he needs them, and everything around him only exists as a metaphor for why everything he believes in, and by extension the show's staff believe in, is absolutely right, and anyone who disagrees with them are a bunch of space Nazis even if they're objectively better than him in every single way imaginable.
The Diamonds are oppressive and don't let people think for themselves. For someone who seemingly has a problem with propaganda, you shouldn't agree with Homeworld. It's almost like you dislike propaganda when it's from those damn SJW libtards ruining my good cartoons with gay and LGBTQ themes.
And that's the big hook. That's the twist. That's why shitty people make a shitty show that other shitty people are ready to kill each other over. Steven Universe fans love Steven Universe because the average Steven Universe fan is a dumb, 400-pound, spoiled college feminist living in her nice upper-class house with her cuckold dad and 2 lesbian moms. They love the show because they identify with Steven Universe. They love the show because they are Steven Universe.
Wow. Way to generalize all Steven Universe fans as fat lesbians. Here I am, a skinny straight dude. Guess I only like Steven Universe because I can relate to it, right? Right? Maybe people like the show because it's entertaining? Maybe they like it because it makes them feel like they belong in a society when members of that society want them dead. Maybe they like it because they can relate to the themes of love and loss, trying to have healthy relationships, solving problems through nonviolent means, not being a Nazi or bigot, being open-minded, body acceptance, or love between 2 people regardless of who they are. Maybe that's why people really like this show, because they like it. Not everyone cares about tiny plot contrivances. Not everyone cares about whether or not the artists have a giant S fetish. Maybe people just want to like it because they do. You don't have to have a reason for liking something. Also, you shouldn't generalize all people who like Steven Universe, or any show for that matter, as terrible people. Ever heard of a loud minority? The only terrible person here is you, easy peasy. You're a racist, transphobic, homophobic piece of shit who thinks anyone who likes Steven Universe is a terrible person because some people do bad things. Are all humans bad because some shoot others? No. So shut the fuck up and let people like something without being prosecuted for doing so.
It's revealed that the evil Diamonds, who throughout the show we've been told are evil dictators that rule a genocidal empire that destroys entire planets with all of their life forms intact, enforces a strict racial hierarchy with entire ethnic groups designated to be slave classes from birth, stitches together the still living remains of their dead and crippled subjects into horrible abominations whose entire existence is a living hell, so they can be used as a biological weapon to commit mass genocide, and fill the streets with omni robots designed to seek out and kill disabled people and misrace children on sight. Those guys are actually not so bad, and it's all okay because they're just sad that their sister died, and all Steven needed to do was talk to them and hold their hand and sing Kumbaya with them, and they'll become cool. And all the crimes against humanity they've committed are forgiven.
Nowhere in the show do we see the Diamonds being forgiven for their actions. Steven and the Crystal Gems have not forgiven them. There's a difference between redemption and improvement. You can make someone a better person without forgiving them for their terrible actions. And that's exactly what we see in the movie. Steven barely tolerates the Diamonds. You know that they don't actually believe all the good things they're saying, and that they're only saying them for Steven's approval. So no, the Diamonds are not forgiven or redeemed.
It's all fine now, and the show concludes with that, and now we all have to wait for the movie where they fight the real evil Diamond, who's the worst one because she's white.
Also, yes, clearly Rose is the villain because she's white. But oh wait, most of the bad shit she did was when she was pink.
The gravy train of these horrible-ass cartoons has finally reached its final stop.
Isn't Adventure Time a really well-received cartoon? Like, almost on the same level as Gravity Falls? I never watched it all the way through, just the first few episodes, but I heard Adventure Time was really good. Maybe you dislike it because of the SJW propaganda in it when Marceline and Princess Bubblegum get together.
The show abruptly ended with what makes it feel like it was rushed to a conclusion because it was suddenly cancelled, and in the final episodes of the show, everything gets hastily wrapped up, nothing makes any sense, the staff start drawing Pearl more like Sugar draws herself, which is kind of creepy, and the entire show ends with Steven confronting the main villain, and then beating it by going, I know you are, but what am I? I know you are, but what am I? I know you are, but what am I? I'm rubber, you're glue, I'm rubber, you're glue, and then she dies, the end.
You know, I actually agree with him on this one. The ending to change your mind was very rushed.
That Ruby and Peridot are obviously male.
Ruby doesn't even look like a dude. This guy's just making shit up to criticize.
Aside from Rebecca deciding that being fake gay isn't enough.
Did this guy just describe being bisexual as being fake gay? Literally, what the fuck is wrong with him?
And she craves even more attention, so she came out as quote-unquote non-binary, which is a fancy way of saying I want to get all of the perks of being transsexual, but I don't actually want to take cancer-inducing hormone replacement therapy or have a sex change or insist that people call me by male pronouns or really do anything that requires effort or might have any kind of negative repercussions on me. I just want the good stuff and lots of attention.
Yes, because that's the only reason anyone identifies as non-binary. Not because they don't feel like they fit as neither of the genders.
Yeah, so this happened. This is the voice actor of Steven, and after hanging out with these people for an extended period of time, being around them basically turned him gay.
I spend a lot of time looking at tweets from people that are left-leaning and or in the LGBT community. I watch Steven Universe, and I'm in a big Steven Universe Discord server where a lot of people are LGBTQ from what I can tell. Yet I'm not gay or LGBT at all. I'm straight and cis, and have never even questioned that about myself. So if you're trying to tell me that gay people can convert you to being gay just from hanging out with them, then you're gonna need to provide more evidence than just Zach Callison.
But fine. Enough stalling. Let's get to the actual comments, okay? Starting with, drumroll please. My own supporters.
I'm gonna be honest, this part where he roasts his fans and people that disagree with him is hilarious.
Man, you're ignorant.
Wrong spelling of your, again while calling me ignorant.
I was with it until he corrected punctuation. No one actually ends YouTube comments or tweets with periods except in some minor cases. So basically, after watching most of his responses to the comments, he thinks being racist, transphobic, homophobic, anti-Semitic, and other offensive things that don't have terms is funny, then criticized the show's staff and fans for being bad people. If you're watching this, easy peasy, please look up the word hypocrite. Also, anyone can take bad comments and only show those and pretend that those are all the comments.
He identifies as non-binary, and I think that if you're a dude that dresses as a woman and then makes up a fake mental condition for yourself for attention...
Yes, it's definitely a fake mental condition.
At one point there was even a thread started by one guy with Asperger's telling me that he wants nothing to do with these people, and below were like 100 replies, half of which were by other autistic people who were agreeing with him that they don't want to be compared to Steven Universe fans. Liking Steven Universe is literally worse than autism.
Worse than autism implies having autism is inherently bad, which is not. If someone with autism isn't smart, it's mostly because they don't learn the same way as other kids, and the school system wasn't prepared to accommodate for that.
It has been revealed in the show that Rose Quartz is basically a child mentally, sending the entire fanbase into a tizzy and making them accuse the creators of the show of being pedophiles again because Greg had sex with Rose, and Rose is basically a child.
Okay, that doesn't even make any fucking sense. Like, at all. Someone acting like a child or having a childlike relationship with other people doesn't inherently make them a child. Besides, even if we do say that Pink was a child, by the time she faked her own shattering, she definitely counts as an adult based on her maturity at that point alone.
I've had a few people telling me that Zami or Zamai, whatever her name was, never actually tried to kill herself because of the Steven Universe fans. As if, even if that were true, that would somehow make it okay that they continued to tell her to kill herself, even though they didn't know she was faking it, assuming again that she actually was. It also doesn't make it okay that they did the exact same thing to a different person I briefly mentioned in the video. But let's put all of that aside because it gives me a great opportunity to share a few stories relayed to me by people in the comments about how awful the Steven Universe fans are.
Just on the saying last week, Jack's roommate was super abusive to me, and legally changed their last name to Universe. And then why would people find that strange last name?
So in conclusion, you win, Steven Universe fans. You totally showed me. The Steven Universe fanbase totally didn't almost get two people to kill themselves. They actually did it to a lot more.
A few bad apples can't spoil the bunch. Why would people tell stories of regular old non-toxic fans? Again, loud minority.
Now, the next complaint I got was people telling me that fusion is not sex, but let's look at all of the evidence that it is. Proof number 1. Pearl blushes and covers Steven's eyes as he watches Amethyst and Garnet fuse.
Pearl is embarrassed about A, it not being her, and B, the provocative dances they do.
Proof number 2. Peridot reacts with disgust at seeing Garnet, asking her why she's constantly fused for no reason.
Would you mind unfusing? It's making me incredibly uncomfortable.
Some people find interracial couples disgusting, which is some serious bullshit but a good comparison.
Proof number 3. Garnet seeing the cluster for the first time, and the interaction being an obvious allegory for rape.
It's, not an allegory for rape. Even you putting that out, I still don't see it. And will never see it. They're being forced together, which isn't right. Fusion should be a choice, not a pain.
Proof number 4. Pearl tricking Garnet into fusing and the interaction being an obvious allegory for rape.
Well, yes, it is being used to explore consent. That doesn't mean the thing used to explore consent is also an allegory for sex. I could wear someone's jacket without their permission, and then they get mad at me for taking their jacket. It's not an allegory for sex, but it can be used to explore themes surrounding consent.
Proof number 5. Lapis and Jasper's fusion being an obvious allegory for rape.
Lapis and Jasper's fusion is an obvious allegory for an abusive relationship, actually.
Proof number 6. Ruby and Sapphire fusing as they make out with each other in a scene that was so sexual it had to be censored in several countries.
It wasn't censored because it was sexual, it was censored because it was gay.
Proof number 7. The recent episode where Ruby and Sapphire fusing is a metaphor for consummating their marriage.
Yes, because weddings are very sexual. Garnet is an allegory for their relationship.
Number 9. All the way through 999. Every single fusion dance involving the gems looking like something a stripper would do.
I mean, a lot of partner dances are at the very least romantic. In conclusion, some asshole calls out other people for being assholes, while claiming that a show made by people he calls assholes is bad because the people who like the show made by assholes are assholes, and that because the people who made the show are assholes, and the people who like the show are assholes, the show is bad.